like business. So I'm fighting for freedom in the use of computing. Initially, what took away the freedom of computer users? It was software controlled by some company, not by the users. So, for freedom's sake, we have to replace that with free software, logiciel libre. It's free as in freedom. We're not talking about price, that's a little detail. The important thing is that the users must have control of the software they use. If a company controls that program, that company can use it as an instrument against you. And we see the level of evil, of the use of programs to hurt their users, increasing constantly. In the past week or so, we saw that Nintendo sabotaged all the Wiis through some sort of probably forced software change, so that they stop functioning unless the user agrees to give up some legal rights. Sabotage. We saw MacOS start sending information about users' activities to Apple in various different activities. We saw a hardware manufacturer release an updated driver which sabotages compatible imitation chips. Well, it's pouring out, but using non-free software against the people who are using it, designing it to mistreat them, is quite common. We see programs that spy on their users. They're designed to stop people from doing things, or they have backdoors, or they impose censorship. Windows 8 and Apple systems on mobile devices are platforms for censorship of applications. They abandon users, leaving them helpless, as happened with Windows XP. Basically, a non-free program does software for suckers. If you don't want to be kicked and stepped on, you must move to logiciel libre. And the free software community is here developing that. We ask you to help us, to help our movement in various ways, because what we are making is freedom for you. But that only goes so far. Free software gives you freedom inside your own computer. But what if you use the network? Well, nowadays the network is designed in so many ways to spy on you. It's companies typically that do the immediate spying, collecting giant digital dossiers. But these dossiers are then available to the state. And what does the state use it for? Well, the state says we have to be able to look at this to stop terrorism. Terrorism is the ideal excuse. But really what it's used for is to crush democracy, to crush journalism. Nowadays, how can you have whistleblowers serve as sources for journalism without being imprisoned? If the state always knows who talks with whom, if every communications method is tracked so that the metadata, which says who talks with whom, is available to the state, it's impossible to reveal the state's dirty secrets. And there goes democracy. Democracy means that the people have control over the state. That's necessary because the state is powerful. But if the people can't find out what the state is doing because whistleblowers don't dare to act, well then we don't really have control over anything important anymore. So we need to make sure that digital networks, digital license plate recognizers, all the digital systems in the world that can keep track of people are designed so that they don't see anybody unless there's a warrant out to track a specific person. It's going to be a big job, but that's what democracy requires. And why do we need democracy? Because governments are working for businesses, not for the people. This is especially clear in the case of the government of Canada, which is working above all for fossil fuel companies. They want the government and other governments around the world to keep us driving at full speed towards the edge of the global heating cliff. We don't know where that edge is, after all. We don't know exactly how much greenhouse gases it will take to cause a global heating disaster that will destroy most of the species on Earth and could kill most of the people on Earth. And you may live long enough to see that. So if you don't want that to happen, it's up to you to do something about it. We know that we don't dare burn more than 1/5 of the world's known reserves of fossil fuels. Of course, they're constantly looking for more that they wouldn't dare burn if they know what's good for the world. The government of Canada has ordered government scientists not to talk to the press, because if they talk to the press, they would reveal what is known about how fast we are moving towards that unseen cliff. The government is shutting down research projects that could document how fast we are approaching this cliff. We've got to stop this for the survival of civilization and most of the species on Earth. We better get going.